Hi everyone! Good afternoon. So I hope that you can see my screen well. So basically my screen tells you that this is a review for grades 10 students. So basically, what is this review all about? So hi. So this review will be all about probability and the measures. So yung decile, percentile, and quartile. So that is what this review is all about. So to start off, let's first recall all the terms that you've been learning for the past few weeks. So we have here what we call an experiment. So an experiment is an activity in which the result cannot be predicted with certainty. So for example, nag-flip ako ng coin. So I have my coin and then I flip my coin. So it is called an experiment kasi you don't know kung heads ba or tails yung lalabas. So when you're doing something that you don't know what the result may be, that is what we call an experiment. So for our second word, we have trial. So a trial is the repetition of an experiment. So basically, trial is how many times you did it. Ilan beses mong ginawa yung experiment mo. So kanina, nag-flip na ako ng coin. Tapos, nag-flip uli ako ngayon. So, ibig sabihin, nakaka-2 trials na ako sa experiment. So, if I flip the coin once again, that is my third trial. So, meaning the number of trials that I have is 3. Next one, outcome. So, the outcome is the result produced by the experiment. So, kung yung una kong flip coin, head ang lumabas, ibig sabihin, head yung outcome ko. So, kung ang next ko na flip coin, tail ang lumabas, ibig sabihin, tail yung outcome ko. And that leads us to our sample space. So, ano ba yung sample space? Basically, it's the collection of all possible outcomes. So, ibig sabihin ito na kapag meron kang sample space, kung yung una kong ginawa ay heads, yung next ay tails, and then yung third one is head, ibig sabihin, my sample space is head, tails, and then head again. So, yan yung mga basics na kailangan yung alalahanin when it comes to probability. Also, we have our probability of our simple event. So let me read the definition first. The probability of an event, P of E, is the ratio of the number of possible outcomes in the event N of E to the total number of outcomes, which is N of S in the sample space. So in symbols, magiging na siyang P of E is equal to N over E divided by N sub E divided by N sub S. So for example, meron tayong ditong mga example. So number 1, a die is rolled. So your sample space is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So bakit naging 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 yung magiging sample space? Basically, that becomes the sample space dahil sa isang dice, ang possible na lumabas na number ay 6. So, pwedeng yung 1, pwedeng yung 2, pwedeng yung 3, pwedeng yung 4, pwedeng yung 5, at pwede yung 6. So, ito yung lahat ng pwedeng lumabas. Kaya, ang sample space natin is 1, 2, 6. Next one. What is the probability of getting an odd number? So, balikan natin yung formula kanina. You have P of E equal to N of E divided by N of S. So, let's write that down. So, let's put it sa taas na lang. P of E is equal to N of E divided by N of S. So, ibig sabihin ito yung possible chances, and then ito yung total. So, probability of getting an odd number. So, what are the odd numbers? So, ito yung nag-end sa 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Dito sa sample space natin, meron tayong 1, 3, at 5. So, ibig sabihin, our N of E is 3. Kasi tatlo lang. Over N of S, which is the total sample space. Ilan yung pinagkunan nyo? So, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, you have 3 over 6. And then, don't forget to put your answers in lowest term. You have 1/2. So, for number 1, the answer is 1/2. Next one. What is the probability of getting an odd number? So, odd number pa din. Greater than 4. So, ibig sabihin, it's greater than 4. So, how many is that? So, you have numbers greater than 4 is just 5 and 6. So, your only odd number is 5, which is 1. And then, ilan lang yung pagpipilian nyo? So, you have greater than 4. So, you have 5 and 6. So, dalawa lang siya. Therefore, the probability of getting an odd number greater than 4 is 1/2. Doon sa dalawang mas malaki sa 4, dalawa lang yung pagpipilian nyo. Next one. What is the probability of getting an even number? So this time, even number naman. So even numbers are 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So lahat na nag-e-end sa 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So what is the probability of getting an even number greater than 3? So, ang even number dito ay si 4, tsaka si 6. So you have 2. And then, ilan yung pinagpilian mo? So, ilan yung numbers na mas malaki sa 3? So, you have 4, 5, and 6. So, your answer would be 2 over 3. So far, so good? There's no questions pa? Okay, so let's go to our next example. So, this is our coin. So, a coin is tossed twice. So, dalawang beses natin siyang tinos. So, first, let's write down our sample space. So, how will you get a sample space of a coin tossed twice? Ibig sabihin, ito yung possibility na ano ba yung pwedeng lumabas kapag dalawang beses kong tinos yung coin na meron ako. So, the first possibility is that the first time, you would get an head. So, you would get a head. And the second one, pwedeng head ulit. Another possibility is that you get an head sa una, and then you get a tail. Another possibility is you get a tail first, and then another tail. And then you get a tail, and then another head. So, it means that when you toss a coin twice, ito yung mga posible na lumabas. So, you have head, 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 tail, 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 and then tail, head. So, for number 1, what is the probability of getting 2 heads? So, alin dito yung merong HH? So, yung una lang yung merong HH. So, that's 1 over ilan yung total, ilan yung pwedeng lumabas na sagot. So, that is 4. So, the probability is 1/4. Next one, probability of getting 2 tails. So, ito lang yun, kasi tail at tail. So, that's also 1 over 4. And the last one, number 3, what is the probability of getting a head and a tail or vice versa? So, pwedeng head, tail, pwedeng tail, head. So, ilan yon? So, you have 1, 2. So, dalawa yung pwede niyong maging sagot. And ilan yung total? 4. Which would give you 2 over 4, or the lowest term of 2 over 4 is 1/2. So that is how you would get the possible outcomes, or P of E, of your probability. So that is the first part of today's lesson. Now, let's try to level up our understanding. So here we have an example of a 52 poker playing cards. So you have your clubs, your diamonds, your hearts, and your spades. So meron ka daw 52 na playing cards. And then, 2 parts doon, yung clubs tsaka yung spade, sila ay black. And then yung diamonds tsaka hearts nyo, sila ay red. So for example, ang tanong ko, what is the probability of having red cards? So what is the probability of having red cards? So bibilangin nyo kung ilan yung red cards. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sa diamonds. And then meron din tayong 12 sa hearts. So that's going to be, let's write it down, 12 hearts plus 12 diamonds. So you have here 12 hearts and 12 diamonds. Yeah. And then, yung denominator is kung ilan yung cards na meron kayo. So, ibig sabihin, kung meron kayong 12 hearts and 12 diamonds, ang total natin is 52. 52. So, you have 12 plus 12 over 52. So, that would give you, di pala siya 12, 13 pala siya. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. So 13 plus 13 is 26 over 52. 5 and 2. So 26 over 52. And then don't forget the lowest term, 26 over 52 is simply 1/2. So pag tinanong, what is the probability of the red cards? Ibig sabihin, you have 13 cards sa heart, 13 red cards sa diamond, so that's 26 over the total, which is 52, so you get 1/2. Same thing kapag ang hinanap naman sa inyo, what is the probability of getting black cards? So ilan yung black? Meron kang 13 black cards from the clubs, and meron ka ding 13 black cards from the spades. So 26 over 52, that would give you 1/2 as well. So pag tinanong, what is the probability of getting royalty? So you get Jack, Queen, or King. So ilan ba yung Jack, Queen, or King na meron kayo? So you have sa clubs, 3, sa diamonds, 3, sa hearts, 3, and then sa spades, 3. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 12. So 3, 6, 9, 12. You get 12 cards na royalty. So let's write down 12. 12 over, ilan yung total? So same pa rin, 52. So you have 12 over 52. So 12 over 52, don't forget to lowest term, so that is 1 over 4. So your final answer is 1/4. So bakit naging 1/4? Kasi meron tayong 12 na cards na pwedeng piliin na Jack, Queen, King, And then, ilan yung total? It is 52. So that is why your final answer would be 12 over 52 or simply 1/4. So, yan yung main point of using probability. So now let's go on to our next slides. So recall that you have also what you call a compound event. So compound events are two or more events linked by the word and or the word or. So ito daw yung mga questions na merong and or. So two events are mutually exclusive if they cannot happen at the same time. So mutually exclusive sila kapag hindi siya pwedeng magsabay. And you have your formula for your mutually exclusive events. So, keyword dyan is X. So, pag sinabing X, hindi siya pwedeng sabay-sabay. So, the probability of mutually exclusive events, P, A union B, is equal to the sum of the probability of event of A, P of A, and the probability of event of B, which is P of B. In symbols, probability of A union B is equal to the probability of A plus probability of B. I know it's a little complicated to understand the lesson when it comes to the definitions, but it's easier to find your way through kapag may examples na. So for example, a die is rolled once. So nagtapon ka ng die isang beses. So what is the probability of getting an even number or a 3? Dito na papasok yung kailangan nyo na isipin. Is this question mutually exclusive? So how would you know? Given the information, ang kailangan mo daw mahanap even number and a 3. Or a 3. Even number or a 3. Eh, ang even number, hindi naman siya 3. And ang 3, hindi rin siya even number. Ibig sabihin, they are mutually exclusive kasi one is not related to the other. So your choices are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have P, A, union B is equal to P of A plus P of B. So P of A mo is getting an even number. So ilang beses ka pwede makakuha ng even number? So that's 1, 2, 3. So 3 times. So that's 3 over 6 or lowest term is 1/2. Pero you can write 3 over 6 na lang. And then, probability of getting a 3. Ilan ba yung 3 na nasa dice? Di ba isa lang? So that is plus 1 over 6. And then simplify. 3 plus 1 is 4. Copy the denominator. So fractions to rule of fractions. Similar fractions, you just need to add the denominator and then copy the denominator. Add the numerator and then copy the denominator. And then simplify. 4 over 6 is also equal to 2 over 3. So, ibig sabihin, ang probability of getting an even number or a 3 is 2 over 3. So now, we have naman the other way around. So, two events are non-mutually exclusive or inclusive. Yung kanina, ME, mutually exclusive. So, kahit anong gawin nyo, they are two different identities. Ang red, hindi pwedeng blue. Ang blue, hindi pwedeng maging red. So, ganun siya. This time naman, it is inclusive. So, ibig sabihin, they can occur at the same time in a single trial. So, kung kanina ang formula natin is just P of A plus P of B, now naman, we can subtract the one, which is their intersection. So, you have P, A union B is equal to P of A plus P of B minus P, A intersection B. Yung pinagkaparehas nila, babawasin nyo na. So for example, if you look at it in a bigger picture, kunyari meron kayong pizza. 6 lang yung slices ng pizza. Yung isa, 4 yung gusto, yung kabila, 4 din. So, di ba mag-overlap sila? Meron ka lang 6 slices pero ang gusto nila 8. So, nag-overlap sila. Ibig sabihin, yung isang slice doon, isi-share nila. Kaya natin binabawas na. Yun yung meaning ng inclusive events. In terms of probability, let's read the question. A die is rolled once. So, yung dice mo daw, isang beses mong tinapon. What is the probability of getting an odd number or getting a number greater than 2? So, let's list down ulit yung mga pwedeng lumabas sa dice. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, first one, getting an odd number. So, yung getting an odd number, ano ba yung mga odd numbers natin? So, you have 1, 3, and 5. And then, getting a number greater than 2. So, lahat ng number na mas malaki sa 2, pwede mong kunin. So, starting to 3 to 6. Kung makikita nyo, si 3 at 5, napili na natin sila kanina sa odd number. Tapos, pwede mo rin silang piliin sa greater than 2. So, nag-o-overlap yung dalawa. Ibig sabihin, kapag ginawa nating addition lang or mutually exclusive yung unang formula, nadodoble yung sagot. Kaya this time, nagsusubtract tayo to make sure na hindi madodoble yung napili natin. Kasi napili mo na siya nung una. Bakit pipiliin mo pa ulit? So, it's very redundant and that does not work in this kind of probability. So you have your formula P, A union B is equal to P of A. Ito yung first condition plus P of B, second condition minus P, A intersection B. So P of A, ano yung chance na makakuha ka ng odd number? So, di ba sabi ko kanina, you have 3. So, that's 3 over 6. Next, what is the chance of getting a number greater than 2? So, si 3, 4, 5, and 6, bilangin nyo lang. Ilan sila? So, you have 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, that is 4 over 6 minus P intersection ng A at B. So, ano yung intersection ng A at B? Ito yung umuulit. Alin yung numbers na umulit? So, umulit si number 3 at si number 5. So, ilan yung numbers na umulit? So, you have 3 and 5. So, ibig sabihin, dalawa sila. So, minus 2 over 6. And then, simplify. 3 plus 4. So, that's 7. Minus 2 is 5. Therefore, your P, A union B, is 5 over 6. Ganun lang lagi yung isipin nyo when it comes to mutually inclusive. So, kapag mutually exclusive, they are two different identities. Magkaiba sila, magkahiwalay sila. Pero when you're talking about mutually inclusive, merong nag-overlap sa kanila. So imagine you have a circle. If it's two different identities, it is mutually exclusive. Magkahiwalay. Kaya nga, di ba, if you can recall the word, syempre X. So pag X, X na, wala na. So magkahiwalay na kayo. Kapag mutually inclusive, you have an overlapping. So, merong part sa inyo na you have together. So, may pinagkaparehas kayo. So, that is mutually inclusive. So, for the last time, mutually exclusive is when you're two different identities, and mutually inclusive is when you have overlapping identities. So that ends our lesson on probability. So right now, let's go to the second part, which is the measures. So dito naman sa measures natin, if you can recall, we have three different measures. You have your quartile, your decile, and your percentile. So ano meron sa quartile, sa decile, at sa percentile? Basically, ito yung paghahati-hati papunta sa 100. So for example, let's draw a line. So from 0 to 4, ito yung quarter 1, quarter 2, at quarter 3 mo. So yan yung sa quartile class. Ilan yung hati? 3 beses ka naghati into 4 different parts. Sa decile class naman, your boundary is by 10. So ilan yung hati? 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just imagine it's 9. So hinati mo yung lahat sa 9, hinati mo siya ng 9 na beses so that you would get 10 parts. And then from this one, sa percentile, your highest is 99. So hinati mo siya ng 99 na beses para makakuha ka ng 100 na different spaces. So, ganun yung logic. Kunyari, meron kang arrow. 0 to 2. Hinati mo siya ng isang beses. Pero, nahati yung part sa dalawa. So, ibig sabihin, ganun din sa quartile. Hinati mo siya ng 3 times, so plus 1. Ibig sabihin, meron kang 4 parts. Yung decile, hinati mo siya sa siyam, so plus 1, naging 10 yung parts niya. And same sa percentile, hinati mo siya ng 99 times, ibig sabihin meron ka ng 100 different parts. So, as you can see, if you're going to compare the formula, the only difference is their denominators. So, you have 4, 10, and 100. So, quartile from the word quarter. 4 times. Diba? Kaya nga first, second, third quarter sa mga exam, sa school years, diba? 4 quarters inahati. Sa isang buong taon, meron tayong 4 na quarters. So from January to March, and then April, May, June, tapos July, August, September, October, November, December. So yun yung hinati mo quarterly. Hinati mo siya sa 4. And then when you have your decile, so, di ba, kapag we're talking about decimal points, you start with tenths, not ones. Kasi, ang decile is by 10. So, hinati mo siya by 10, and your percentile is usually what we use on the daily basis. Sa mga grades, you have your 0 to 100. So, pag quartile, 4, decile, 10, percentile, 100. And they have the same meanings. So, K is kung ano yung hinahanap nyo. 1, 2, 3 ba siya? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ba siya? Or 1, 2, 3, 4 hanggang 99? So, depende yun kung quartile, decile, or percentile yung hinahanap. Next one, L sub B is your lower class boundary. CF sub B is your cumulative frequency. F is the frequency of the quartile class, or kahit hindi quartile, decile, or percentile class. N is your total frequency, ilan ba silang lahat, and your I is your class interval. For comparison, let's have this example. So, if you can recall, when you get a cumulative frequency of your numbers, first, look at your scores. And then, hanapin niyo yung scores na may pinakamababa. Kasi dito, madalas nagkakamali. So, if you could look closely, the top part, is 40 to 44. And then the bottom part is 95 to 99. When you count your cumulative frequency, you start with the lowest range or lowest interval. So magsa-start tayo ay sa 40 to 44. Paano pag nabaliktad? Si 95 to 99 yung nasa taas. And then si 40 to 44 yung nasa baba. Ganun pa rin. Start with the lowest boundary. So that is 40 to 44. And to get the cumulative frequency, you just add 1 by 1. So you have 5. And then add the number, cross to it, across. So 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 plus 4 is 15. 15 plus 10 is 25. 25 plus 9 is 34. 34 plus 11 is 45. 45 plus 12 is 57. Yeah. So 57 plus 6 is 63. 63 plus 7 is 70. 70 plus 3 is 73. 73 plus 4 is 77. And 77 plus 3 is 80. So make sure that the last number of your cumulative frequency is the same as your total. So when you add it in your calculators at home, just to try it down. So pag inad ko daw si 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 4, 10, 9, 11, 12, 6, 7, 3, 4, 3, ang magiging final answer ko ay 80. So now that you have your cumulative frequency, it's time to get the rest. So let's see. So let's have our first example. So for this one, let's get K is equal to 2. So Q sub 2. So Q sub 2 is equal to lower boundary plus K. So what is K? K is 2. 2 times N. N is 80. 2 times 80 divided by 4 minus the cumulative frequency B. So later natin sulat yan. Over F times I. So lower boundary plus, so 2 times 80 is 160 divided by 4. So that is 40. Minus the CFB. So cumulative frequency of the lower, yung mas mababa sa 40. So first, hanapin nyo nasaan ba si 40. So si 40 ay nandito sa 45. Diyan siya pinakamalapit. So bakit sa 45, hindi sa 34? Kasi kapag 34 yung kinuha mo, kapos siya eh. Hindi siya umabot ng 40. So ba't yun yung kukunin mo? Doon ka na lang lagi sa pasobra. So the greater than. So 40 is near 45. Next, this one, cumulative frequency of the lower, so that is 34, over the frequency of your class boundary, so that is 11. I mean, it's 9. From the formula, it's the cumulative frequency of the quartile class. So this is 11 times your interval. So interval, ilan yung pagitan ni 65 to 69? So 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. So that's 5. And your lower class boundary is 64.5. So from the left number, yung mas mababa, bawas lang tayo ng 0.5. And then try to compute it on your own. I'll give you 2 minutes to try it on your own. So 40 minus 34 divided by 11 times 5 plus 64.5. So let's answer it. So this is 64.5 plus 40 minus 34 is 6 over 11 times 5. So 6 divided by 11 is 0.545. So 0.55 times 5 is 2.73 plus 64.5 is 67.23. So this is 67.23, which means that your quartile 2 is equal to 67.23. It means that 67.23% are up until the quartile 2. So, ibig sabihin, yung 67.2% na yan, umabot sila hanggang quartile 2. So, yung natitirang 32 point something, sila yung umabot ng mas mataas. And then, the below 67, sila yung mas mababa. So, let's use the same scores. So, they have the same cumulative frequency, but this time, we have our decile. So you have 5, 11, 15, 25, 34, 45, 57, 63, 70, 73, 77, and then 80. So let's find your decile number 5. So you have L sub B plus K is 5 times N, so same, 80 pa din, over 10 minus C F sub B over F times I. So lower boundary plus 5 times 80 is 400 divided by 10, so that is 40 minus So 34, maliit masyado. Ang pinakamalapit ay 45. So 34 over frequency nito, 11 times 5. And this is also 64.5, which will also give us the answer 67.23. So why did I get the same answer? Bakit 67.23 dito, 67.23 din sa quartile? So if you can imagine, so quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. This is your quartile 1, 2, 3. And when you have a decile, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Somewhere there. So when you divide it by 9, yung 2 na gitna is the same here, which is 5. So your quartile 2 is equal to your decile 5. And in percentile, this is equal to 50. So P50. So if we use that in our next example, so 5, 11, 15, 25, 34, 45, 57, 63, 70, 73, 77, 80. Kapag hinanap natin ay si P50, it's going to be the same. So K times N, so that's 50 times 80, so that's 4,000 divided by 400 is still 40. 40 minus 34 over 11 plus 64.5 times 5. So it would still give you 67.23. So in computation, I just gave you the comparison of how to solve using the quartile, the decile, and the percentile. So if you did not get the formula right away, you can go back to it later on. So in conclusion, I know you've seen this in our past discussion. So this is the result of your NCAI. So before you had your NCAI to know what are your strengths. So for example, so verbal ability. So your verbal ability is 82. So what does that mean? It means that mas mataas ka or you are higher than 82% of your class or everyone who took the NCAI. So it means that you are on the top 18%. Now, what if your score is 99 plus? So that means you are part of the top 1% of those who are good when it comes to mathematical ability. So look at here, the number 1, you have your scientific ability. So this is 31%. It means that there are around 69% people who are higher than, kasi nasa may 31% ka lang. Let me rephrase that. So if you get 31%, you are in the top 60%. So you are part of the top 69%. So that's kind of low. Ibig sabihin, if you would take a chance, go for a course that is about mathematical ability kasi that's your strength. And then, medyo umiwas-iwas ka dun sa scientific ability because that is one of your weaknesses. So I guess that concludes our review for today because basically your exam is just about probability and the measures. So we've we were able to cover everything for today's review. So before we go, are there any questions, clarifications that you would like to ask? Like a random question or something? Okay, so if there are no more questions, no more clarifications, you can go back to this video anytime. So if you don't have anything to do and you need to review, just go back here. So most of the things here are the most important things that you need to learn when it comes to probability and the measures. So if there are no more questions, no more clarifications, that would be the end of our review today. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon again. Goodbye!